Okay, I
My
didn't.
hand lifted up. My hand lifted up. You know what I'm yes, indeed.
I'm good with that. I just didn't. She should know.
Ah, JB.
Uh-huh.
Want me to? Singing man.
Yeah. Okay, all right, y'all are on it,
Yeah,
y'all
we
are on
already-
it.
yeah, we on it.
Excellent, excellent.
Couple steps. All right, thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call the Winterville Town Council meeting to order. Today is Monday, May the 12th, 2025. The time is at 6 o'clock. The invocation tonight will be given by Councilwoman Robinson, and after the invocation, we'll stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we give thanks. We thank you for the beautiful community that you've allowed us to live in. We're thankful for the wonderful citizens that we have. And we ask you, Lord, to let the decisions that we make tonight be something that's pleasing in your sight and worthy of our community. Amen.
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 All right, we all stand and face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone to our town meeting tonight, even to the ones that are watching us via live stream. Next up, we will have our roll call. Let me ask, oh, okay. If you use your clicker to click yourself in, please. Okay, everyone is here, everyone is present. All right. Next up is approval of the agenda. Is anything anybody needs to remove from the agenda or add to the agenda? Refer to the town manager. Is anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion made by Councilwoman Robinson, second by Councilwoman Dr. Brandon Harrell to approve the agenda. Is there any questions? If none, use your clicker, please. Motion carried. Next up, we have proclamations. Refer over to Mr. Harvey.
Tonight we have proclamations for Mental Health Awareness Month, and we have a presentation momentarily on that. Council on Aging, Police Week, Public Works Week, and a proclamation honoring J.B. Hill's 90th birthday, and I believe he's present
Yes.
to get some recognition.
Okay. Yes, I see Mr. Hill is out in the audience, and I'm going to read this proclamation right quickly, if y'all don't mind. It says, proclamation honoring J.B. Hill 90th birthday. Whereas Mr. J.B. Hill moved to Winterville, North Carolina at the age of 5 years old, and whereas he attended Robertson Union School, where he graduated in 1954, and whereas he faithfully attended Good Hope Free Will Baptist Church, where at the age of 13 years old, he joined the number 2 choir, and at the age of 15, the male choir. And whereas he has been at this church for 75 years and became a deacon at the age of 40 years old. And whereas he was the first black man to ever serve on the Winterville Rescue Squad, and whereas it was there he delivered his first baby, and whereas when the word got out he had delivered his first baby, they joked him calling him Dr. Hill. And whereas he got older, he landed a job at Armor Wholesale Company, where he drove trucks for over 31 years. Whereas he left Armor Wholesale and went on to Overton's, where he drove trucks for over 26 years. Now therefore, I, Richard E. Hines, the mayor of Winterville Town Council, hereby honor the contribution and legacy of J.B. Hill on his 90th birthday. And in witness whereof, I do set my hand and cause the seal of Winterville to be affixed. This is the 12th day of May 2025. Richard E. Hines, Mayor.
Oh, that's a blessing. Want us to come down and be with you? And we thank you for everything that you've done for our community.
Absolutely.
You have been a good representative of Winterville. I remember singing in the choir and driving the truck. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's really good.
All right. That was an honor. I was able to be with him on Saturday when he had a little get-together and with all his family. People had traveled from near and far to celebrate him, and it was fantastic. Next up, we have a presentation, and I'm going to yield over to our Councilwoman, Dr. Brenda Harrell.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we will have Ms. Dana Farrington, who is the Mobile Crisis Central Regional Director for Integrated Family Services. Ms. Farrington has a master's in social work. She's a licensed clinical social worker, licensed clinical addiction specialist, and a supervisor for the state of North Carolina for aspiring addiction professionals. Ms. Harrington, if you would, please come to the podium and give us our presentation in regards to mental health awareness. Thank you.
Hello, thank you guys. Thank you for letting me come out here and speak. Are you trying to imply that I? Okay, all right, thank you, thank you. And so I wanted to come here, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Integrated Family Services, connecting the pieces and creating stronger families. And I think Winterville has been doing a very good job. And I just want to, as we talked about W.H. Robinson, I see one of our moms up there, and it's amazing to think about the fact that I've been working with her for a while, and my little babies and our little babies grew up together. And so that talks about the inspiration for me and for many of you guys as we think about the families, and that really is why many of us do what we do, right, is for our families. And so an overview for IFS. IFS, we have a lot of different pieces. They have an outpatient therapy clinic that you can come into. They have psychiatric services for children, intensive in-home, mobile crisis management, foster care, and I'm gonna have some pieces sitting out over there so you can collect some goodies, you know, little handballs and everything so you can learn more about what services we have. We've also started targeted case management. For Pitt County, we have been CARF accredited since 2006, and so you can see all of these wonderful little symbols about how we have been evidence-based treatment provider. We have offices in Ahoskie, Elizabeth City, Greenville, and Rocky Mount, and so individuals can also do telehealth, which is another way that individuals like to nowadays to get services. You will see these RAT cards, and you can get some more of these, and I'm gonna focus most of our attention today on mobile crisis. How many of you guys have heard about Integrated Mobile Crisis Team? Okay, all right, I got some talking to do. Okay. So the mobile crisis program goals are, we want to divert individuals from hospital services. We want to make sure that we get individuals to where they need to be and get them away from the hospital. So we want to increase community awareness about the behavioral health needs and reduce the stigma. A lot of times people don't want to talk about mental health. They don't want to talk about and be confused with saying that they have any type of issues. And we want to make sure that we can talk about that, come out to different places and be able to say that it's okay that we have those type of needs, right? We want to talk about all of the different alternatives to hospitalization. We want to reduce them. We want to make sure that we can get out there and talk about all of the different key stakeholders, like our law enforcement holders that we've got out there. We want to reduce the barriers. In rural areas, there are a lot of barriers that may not be in other areas, such as transportation, right? And so that's really important. And we want to help individuals remain in the community, because when individuals are in their homes, they can be more successful. So our focus with mobile crisis is to provide interventions, stabilize, and prevent. That's one of the biggest things. We want to prevent things from happening in the first place. And we do that by identifying crises that are self-defined. So what I may consider as a crisis and what you may consider as a crisis may be different. But we're looking at things that are mental health, substance use related, and developmental disabilities, okay? So those are really the categories. However, we want to make sure that everybody knows that what you think a crisis is and what I think may be a crisis may be different, okay? Mobile crisis is 24/7, 365 days a year. So when I leave here as the director, I'm gonna go and I'm on call. I'm gonna go and be answering that phone. Somebody is gonna be there, somebody's gonna be answering all the time, okay? The team members are qualified professionals. They're like me. They're licensed clinical social workers, licensed clinical addiction specialists, qualified individuals that have awareness and have been trained for developmental disabilities. And then we also have a psychiatrist that is in our team, okay? They are going to be able to meet you wherever you are, and it is going to be no cost to the individual. We are able, regardless of the insurance coverage, so regardless of whether or not, and I've got a list up there about all of the different type of health insurance plans, that we can do it, that we can take care of it. But no matter what, no matter what type of insurance, or if they have no insurance, it will not be a cost to the individual. Also, the response time, telephonic, within 1 hour, will we be able to take care of this individual. Face-to-face, 2 hours, and that's even in the weather that we have today. So the process is they're going to contact the mobile crisis hotline. They're going to speak with a live call center specialist, okay? And then after that, the mobile crisis team is going to be dispatched. The mobile crisis team member is going to tell them how long it's going to take. A qualified professional is then going to do an assessment and let them know, let's talk about, let's meet up, let's talk about what is it going to look like? What type of interventions do you need? Where you want to meet up at? You want to come to your house? You want to meet at McDonald's? Not McDonald's? Okay, all right. Is it not safe at your house right now? Would you like to meet at W.H. Robinson? Do we need to meet there? Okay, let's meet there then. We can do that, okay? Then they're going to consult with the licensed clinician. Do we need detox? Do we need to talk about that today? That clinician is going to assist with making those recommendations. And then we're going to help you and follow up and help you with those referrals to get you to where you are. So today, we're going to talk to you about, do you think that you would maybe be better if you could follow through and kind of think about what would be helpful in your recovery process? And if they go and say, yes, let's talk about that some more, we're going to work with them to get them and meet them where they are, because recovery looks different for different people, okay? And you get to define your crisis. That's what we believe, okay? So when we look at clinical outcomes, because we need raw data, that's what they tell me these days, even as a social worker, because I'm the touchy-feely type, but other people are not, so I had to bring it. When we look at this for Pitt County, we had 137 total crisis responses between January and April. 137. 91% of those individuals were diverted from hospital settings. I see some people putting on them glasses, yep. So they went someplace other than ECU Health to fill up that ED, right? All right. Between January and April, 91% of our responses were within 1 hour, okay? And that's what we want to see, individuals getting what they need within 1 hour, okay? All right. So we have a lot of benefits to mobile crisis, hopefully, that we can start seeing that even more and more, right? That we can link individuals. If you feel like, yeah, maybe we can help you with getting an outpatient therapist, yes. We can help with making that referral. We can aid law enforcement, aid first responders with trying to find the most appropriate referral spot to where they need to be, right? Okay. We can also assist with petitions, because some of our individuals don't know how to do that, and that's something that we can do. And then we can also help our schools with supporting crisis responses. Okay? So there's a lot of things that mobile crisis we want to assist with, we want to work with. Individuals that are having thoughts of suicide, self-injurious behavior, and we also have chat cards. We have a crisis line for individuals that are wanting to utilize that for mobile crisis as well. All right, so that's the crisis chat card. So we found, I thought when I was first starting out, that scan card, that you could use that QR code and it would only be young people that would want to use that, because I thought, but we found that a lot of this has been, older people, older my age. And so, so it's not just been young people, but the crisis chat card is anonymous. And you can also text people, and that you can use that QR code as well. This can go to IFS or the Trillium website as well. There's no charge, again, for individuals to use this. While you do like this, people my age like it as well. Everybody now knows how to use the QR code. We use the QR code for everything, right? Okay. All right. So here's my contact information. If you wanted to contact me for more, you can reach IFS through any of these means. I think most of us are familiar with all of those little signs up there. If you're like, I don't know. But yes, any of the social media ways, Twitter, Facebook, you get up there. What I do want to do, if everybody can, that if you know somebody that you think, man, I think they might be good with talking to other people. I think they might have some crisis experience. If you think that they might be interested in having a job doing this, send them my way. Because what we're finding in the Mental Health Month, which is a really good thing, is that the more that we reduce the stigma, is that people are becoming more comfortable with using the crisis line, which is an absolutely awesome thing. But we also need more people that feel comfortable talking about it. And so, I want to see more people that are willing to kind of do this type of work. And so if you're willing, or you know somebody that wants to try that, please direct them to IFS's website, which is awesome.
All right. Dr. Farrington, we really appreciate this presentation, and with it being Mental Health Month, timely and whatnot. But I have just a question, trying to get some answers. I know you said on the slide it was 137 between January and April. Do you know what the state, is it a number, is that high for one county? I'm just trying to figure out.
If that's high out of the rate for all of the county. I wouldn't know. I don't want to say if Pitt County is like, now, as the consulting clinician for all 33, I feel like Pitt County is very high. Okay. But I don't want to say that without having actual hard data. Okay. Yeah.
I was just curious, because that is that's kind of a high number.
I feel like it is. Yeah. But then again, that's comparing those counties from eastern North Carolina as opposed to, like, are we talking about Charlotte? Are you talking about Rock? So, out of the 33 counties that we serve, I feel like Pitt County, we do get a lot of calls. Okay. So yes, so I feel like it's a lot compared to that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else have any questions for? If not, we really appreciate your presentation, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us. So what we're going to have is, And so what's gonna happen is,
Excuse me, can you step back to the mic? I'm sorry,
okay.
please.
So what will happen is we are going to have a psychiatric hospital in Greenville, which is amazing for us because we do not have one right now that takes care of children. And so we will have a new psychiatric hospital. IFS will be doing a behavioral health urgent care soon. And so that will be opening up soon. So that is not that facility, but we will have a behavioral health urgent care that will be opening up soon. And so those two new things opening up together will be absolutely amazing for our area because we will be able to have the ability to be able to take care of behavioral health emergencies and not have to utilize our emergency room for things that are behavioral health needed. And I think that's going to be, it's going to be a game changer for a lot of our individuals that have behavioral health needs. Yeah.
Thank you. Next up is our public comment section. Before I go to public comment, I did fail to recognize, of course, our commissioner that's in the room with us tonight, as Commissioner Mark Smith, and I don't see any other elected official out, but welcome, Commissioner Smith. The public comment section. Get my glasses here. Public comment policy. The public comment period of 30 minutes provide an opportunity for residents to comment on any item included in the agenda or to address the town council on any other matter related to the town of Winterville. For an item included in the public hearing section of the agenda, residents should address the council at the time the mayor invites the public comment on the item. No public comment may be made to the council during the meeting, except during the public comment period or part of a public hearing. Individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and no more than 3 speakers may address the council on a single matter. The town council may elect to take no action on the matter addressed by a speaker, may schedule the matter for further consideration at a future council meeting, or may refer the town matter to town staff for disposition. Copies of the town public comment policies are available in the rear of the assembly room. And we do have one person that have signed up tonight. Ms. Matt DeJesus will step to the podium, please.
My name is Matt DeJesus, 224 18 Mill Street. Last meeting with the cops, coffee with the cops, Chief Williams asked me, how long has that tree in your yard been smiling? Well, at the last town meeting, Mayor said, we're not going to force you to cut down that tree. And Councilwoman Hawkins said, I was trying to help those who needed help. I told my tree they were not going to run it out of town, and they said that you could still live here. So my tree been smiling ever since. My second part, I emailed Don Harvey on a Sunday night about my twigs from my pecan trees hanging up in the wire and it need to be cut. You know, those guys were knocking on my door the next morning, woke me up. They were ready. That was fast, Don. I appreciate that. They were so nice. And Clifton said, okay, we'll cut it down. I go, no, don't cut my tree down. I always wanted a pecan tree. So they trimmed it and got it out of the wires, and they were so nice. They did a good job. I looked up in that tree, and I thought I saw Jesus waving at me. They did such a good job. And a question that I would like to ask you is that everybody keeps telling me, the cable people keep saying, that's not my wire, I'm not supposed to touch it. It's a wire that's hanging from the pole down to the sidewalk, and I'm afraid somebody's gonna get hurt on that. And we are trying to get back up to ranking the safest town. And we're almost on the chart. We only got 2 more spots. We'll be on the safest city chart. I'm wondering, is there some way that the town could talk to these cable people and ask them to remove that wire from hanging up there before somebody in our town get hurt? I called them, and they said they were coming out last Monday. They never showed up. The wire's still hanging there. The injury is still now for somebody. Is there some way that you can ask them or demand them to take that wire down? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maddie.
Yes, Ms. Maddie, I want to say one thing, and they did, you did send your thing to me, but I want to give credit where credit is due to the electric department, that being Ron, the director, and Clifton, who came out and did the work. I just passed along your request.
Thank you.
They're the real heroes in this.
Yeah, they were good.
Thank you. Next up, we have the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
A second. Have a motion and a second. Motion made by Councilwoman Robinson, second by Mayor Pro Tem Johnny Moore. Any discussion on the consent agenda? If not, please vote, please. What's your clicker? Motion carry. There's no old business. So we'll move into our new business, and our planner, Stephen Penn, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. So tonight we have a preliminary plat for Blackstone Section 3. You've all seen Blackstone Section 3 or Blackstone in general a couple of times. This is located right here near the corner of Old Tar Road. Old Tar Road goes north to south here, and Vernon White Road goes east to west here. The site that we're looking at is right here. It's between Section 1 of the subdivision and the Jehovah's Witness Church that was added a few years later. The applicant for this is Art Consulting Group, Scott Anderson. He's with us here tonight if you have any questions of him. Again, this is located near the intersection of Vernon White and Old Tar Road between the first phase of Blackstone and the Kingdom Hall Church. It's a 4.83 acre site with 12 single-family detached lots. It's a R12.5 zoning district. And as we'll see right here on the map, there's going to be 12 lots, interconnectivity with the existing Blackstone Drive. And when the church was constructed, when Kingdom Hall was constructed, there was an emergency lane that was dedicated for this subdivision that will provide a second means of emergency access should there ever be a need for that. So again, if we're looking at the site, so this is Blackstone Drive. Vernon White would be right here. So when you're coming down Blackstone Drive, this subdivision will continue into a cul-de-sac right here. So homes on each side of this street. This dark shaded area represents the emergency access lane that's already in place and in operation. This is just an image of the preliminary plat itself. Again, 12 lots that would go on both sides of this street. Staff recommends approval. Our technical review committee has reviewed this subdivision, and it does meet town standards. Of course, if approved tonight, they will eventually submit construction drawings and final plats. The Planning and Zoning Board unanimously recommended approval at their April meeting. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
Anyone have any questions for Stephen at this time?
That emergency road, it really bothers me. Because last time, I haven't been over there in the last day or two, whatever, but it didn't seem to be really kept up.
I think that's something that during the construction of this, we're going to get out there and really require markings and it to be laid out to to town standards.
And what is its proximity to those houses in that cul-de-sac that's going to be built?
So it will actually be, so there's a, let's see. This is a lot on each side of it. This will go kind of in between as an easement, similar to what you've seen on Eli's, not Eli's Ridge, the one on,
Red Forbes, right?
well, no, I was thinking of the one on Church Street Extension that was just constructed a few years ago.
Holly Grove?
Holly Grove.
Uh-huh.
Similar to Holly Grove, it'll be an easement with a fire access lane right there.
That one in Holly Grove, it's paved, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
This is not paved. Will
That
it be
one is
paved?
not. That would not be a requirement of the planning department. I know that it already meets the required engineering for the fire trucks when it was constructed by the church.
Chief,
I'll
Moore,
bring David
step
up
to the.
to elaborate on that.
But as Chief Moore is walking up, Ms. Robertson, that is exactly why we don't want to allow them anymore, because really, they should not take the place of a required
Another
ingress.
outlet.
Absolutely.
And some of the residents over there that have houses, voiced that concern to me. The fact that they have one way in, one way, pretty much one way out, because that road is not kept up. And if you're gonna build houses and you're gonna build, that road is it gonna be between the houses? I know where the one in Holly Grove is. And, is it gonna be between the houses? Is it gonna be behind the house or what?
So the one in Holly Grove was partially paved because there was already a paved path through there that they used. The one in Villa Grande was rocked, but the key to it is they have to support 75,000 pounds in all-weather surface. This one was never completed, but with this project, it'll have to be brought up to the standard, and it'll have to be marked and maintained.
Are the residents aware that these houses will be built, these additional houses will be built in this subdivision? Are the people that are there now, are they aware that you're gonna build out now?
They should. The preliminary plat has shown homes on this area before those homes were even constructed.
I know because like I said, I went over there for something, and, they were talking about this access road, and they were saying that there will be houses built around, there were some more houses to be built over there. But I am concerned about safety. I'm concerned that these people have one way in, one way out, and of course, they live in those are nice homes over there. They're making that investment, so.
Stephen, was anything sent out to the residents, because this is a rezoning request?
No, this is just a preliminary plat. No,
I'm sorry. All right.
nothing was sent to the
Sent to-
residents
okay.
for this.
All right.
It just has to meet the town
Okay.
standards.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And I noticed that we agreed to this plan here, and agreed to this road through there. But it's just an area of concern for me.
Well, and I think
the
it's,
resident.
I do think that since that time, Holly Grove's a little bit newer and not, in other words, I may need council to do something more formalized to make sure that there are no more
Right.
of those, but I was clear when you all basically said no more of those sometime back, so.
Quick question. So at what point will the residents be notified, even though that this is just the, request for the preliminary plat?
There's no standard for notification of when a preliminary plat is approved.
No, I'm saying the residents get notified, just to kind of echo of what Councilwoman Robinson was speaking about, because that is an area of concern about the one-way in, the one-way out, and then as of right now, the road is not being kept up, as we speak.
I'm notifying them that this is going to be that the subdivision is going to be completed.
Yes.
That's not a standard, however, I would If council would like for me to send a letter to the neighborhood?
I think it would be
Yes.
good.
We just need to make that a standard. and
Right,
do-
you can't just do it
more
on
than
one,
just this
right.
neighborhood. Because we do have several neighborhoods with one way in, one way out. And I know Copper Creek particularly, until it was connected with additional phases, you know, that existed for a good long time. And so we have not historically done that. That didn't have an access road, but I'm just saying, in terms of letting folks know when preliminary plats for additional phases come about, it's not historically been something we have done. Happy to do it, but
I know, I've seen the one in Holly Grove. Actually, my nephew lives next door to it, and it's paved. But when I go over there, I don't see the same thing. I didn't see the same thing when I went. Now, that's been a while, so it could change. But the residents over there, the lady, my friend that was over there, told me, said, those lots there, there are more houses to be built. But I do think they need to, I just feel like they, I agree with you, Councilwoman Dr. Arell, that they need to be notified. I would,
Well, if y'all can remember back, not too long ago, this was the same subdivision that the residents came in, was talking about
correct.
all the heavy trucks
Right.
and all that, you know, so now you're getting a chance to build out, so you won't have the trucks and the heavy traffic and all that, the big trucks and all that in there, so it's being built out. And then my question, you know, was this subdivision, because I thought now we always require each subdivision now to have ingress and egress, correct?
Yeah, the approvals for the subdivision go back a ways.
Right, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. This right here goes.
They do, however, it's only 28 lots. So
Right.
even if it was constructed with the current ordinance requirements that we have, it still would only require one ingress and egress.
But that is something we could change through our ordinance.
Yeah, that's how our ordinance is currently
But I'm
stated.
saying, and we can change our ordinance to require,
If the town wishes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying, because I think this right here was already prior to we doing the ingress egress, correct? If I'm,
it might have caused us to start doing it.
It was changed, so I think it was changed about 5 years ago.
I'm pretty sure Copper Creek is the subdivision that really put this on the table.
right.
That was a developer that's no longer part of it, but I remember a lot of discussion about that with Copper Creek. I'm not gonna say that that's been a little longer than that, but there've been several where we've discussed this whole topic, and it just remains to be on the table, and I actually don't know why. Stephen can help me understand. I don't know why that access road in Blackstone is not currently as it should be. I don't know why it's not up to standard now, hence the whole reason we have concerns for how to be kept up in the future.
Yeah, I think it needs to be at least marked to show that it's an access lane, at least a sign of some sort.
Okay, all right. Then, I'm sorry.
And also, to make sure that it can take care of the weight that Chief was speaking of. I think that he addressed that issue on our last meeting, that he felt really good about our vehicles will have no problem about traveling on the access road. And once he said that, you know,
It's got,
I'm
but it's gotta be,
okay.
but it's gotta be maintained in order to
Well-
continue to.
yes. And can we get any help on that?
Well, we're really gonna lean in on the developers to bring it
Developer,
up to
right.
where it's supposed to be, because, of course, these are not the same developers currently. But initially, I don't know why the road wasn't brought up to where it was supposed to be in the first place. If I'm wrong on that, though, Stephen, correct
I
me.
think the phase that the church built was brought up per their development.
Gotcha,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, so they wouldn't have gone through off of their property too.
But again, current regulations, the first phase is only 28 houses, is that right?
In total, it'll be 28
In
houses.
total, so there'd be no current requirement to have an additional ingress,
Correct.
egress based on the way the ordinance is currently written.
Correct.
Egress, how many you have to have, what is it?
We would
30 or
have to
40?
have 30
30
as a
is-
minimum.
that
Is how the ordinance is currently written.
Yes.
That whole development has how many houses?
Be 28,
Well, it'll be 28 once.
28 total.
Once this is developed.
The concern, one of the other concern that the citizen there has is making sure that, whoever developed it, that they will maintain the same type of homes, sort of, what they already have in place. And that is one of their requests, if they could. I know that we can't do that,
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah, there ain't no guarantee on
there's
that.
no guarantee,
Yeah,
but
no.
but you can put out a request and a concern that they do have.
No, sir.
And only thing I'm doing is passing the word on what the citizen requested.
Well, I understand that, but we got to understand, you know, sometimes we're going to be treading on thin ice, because there's some, King, where you at down there?
Try to stay off the thin ice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean, there's limits to what we can do, what we can require as far as construction of the home. I think it's perfectly fine for a board member to, if he's been contacted by his constituents, to sort of espouse from the bench here what he's heard. I'm sure Mr. Anderson's hearing what they're saying, but yes, there are limits to what we can require them to do.
All right. I just want to make sure that we stay within our legal bounds. I mean, you know, we want to help the citizens, but at the same time, we got to make sure that we stay within our parameters. Right,
Makes sense.
right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. So now we can open it up to public hearing. Is it a public? No public hearing.
I have a statement in terms of
ma'am.
what we were discussing for, two things. The first one was, when will letters be going out to those neighboring residents? When will a timetable be for that? Will it be this week, next month? When can we say a letter of notification will be going out to those homeowners?
If I could interject, I think we need a vote from council before we can give the timeline, just to make sure that's a council.
So we're making,
Correct.
you need a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I make a motion that a letter of notification be sent to the neighboring homeowners of the new development in its phase, be sent out.
No problem.
Don't we need it? Would you please put the name of the development, Blackstone?
I make a motion that we send a letter of notification to the homeowners at Blackstone of the new development that is emerging.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, have a motion on the floor, motion made by Councilwoman Hawkins, second by Councilwoman Robertson, to send a letter out to Blackstone, notifying them of the new phase, right?
The new phase development.
New phase development, okay, all right.
Okay, question.
Question, yes, sir.
I got a question on this. Do we have a limit on how many homes that need to be built in an area to notify your neighbors that a new structure is going to be built in your area? Or are we talking about developers only? Because we talking about, it can get.
Well, it's a great question, and thank you for bringing that up. So let's use Villa Grande, I'm not exactly sure. I say it both ways. That's a large development.
Yeah.
So additional phases, are we sending out letters of notification to all the residents that already live out there? A point of clarification would be welcome for that. Blackstone's a small development, but we will have some large developments. And I guess maybe need to delve in a little bit in terms of the direction from council on what you all are desiring us to do. Currently, this is only Blackstone, that's in the motion, but if it's gonna be something you want us to do moving forward, we need a little more direction about, is it all of the folks that already currently live in that particular development, if that makes sense?
That would be my concern. This is not a standard practice, and so we're
No,
setting a
it's not.
precedent from now on, every time we have a plat. final plat come before us, we're notifying everybody who lives in that neighborhood.
Well, that's what I want, yeah,
Right.
trying to get a
Well,
little
well,
bit direction.
And clarity, whether it's, because this is a preliminary, so whether it's preliminary, final, and construction drawings that we'll send to, or
Well,
either
I'm
way.
assuming it's just notification that there's an additional phase coming on board. I wouldn't think you'd need to do that multiple times.
I think that we're doing it because those of us on the board have been aware, made aware of concerns
Right.
from the residents over there about the emergency road, you know, and things like that. That's why we're saying, do they know about it? Because the, ones that I've talked to before, it hasn't been right now. I haven't been called about the additional houses being built, but I was called earlier about, some concerns, especially about that emergency road. And, you know, remember the trucks, like you said,
Yes.
trucks parked over there.
well,
That's why we would ask for this, but if it's going to be a problem, or it's gonna be something that we're gonna have to send out 300 letters for in some subdivisions,
Well,
I think we would look at it differently.
well,
you could take it
I'm sorry. To me, as Councilwoman Robinson is speaking about, this sounds like a case-by-case basis. I know that we are probably setting the precedents and things of that nature, but if the residents are reaching out with a concern and about this road and things that are, you know, happening in that subdivision, to me, right now, it just sounds like a case-by-case basis, but I'm happy to listen to the opinions of other council.
well, then it is Blackstone specific.
well, that's what I was going to say. Right now, we have a motion on the floor right now for, to send out letters to Blackstone only. Now, you know, you can vote on this motion if y'all want to change it or, you know, reintroduce a new motion. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir. I mean,
Right.
we have a motion on the floor.
Right, we have this motion on the floor now, so we need to, if Willie's got the slide ready, if you can get your clickers ready, and y'all can vote on this motion, and then we can go from, yes, sir, Don.
Not to muddy up the waters, but could I get a clarification on what the,
Wait, just a minute, let's.
Let's see, there's your motion right there.
I was just gonna say, let's bring it to the vote. Let's announce the vote and then,
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, click,
right,
click your clickers.
just trying to bring it back.
Yeah. All right.
So as it stands right now, Don, I don't want to supersede what you were going to ask, but we will do this for Blackstone. Any other additional subdivisions will be brought back.
Right, this right here, the motion carried to send out, letters to Blackstone. And the motion carried 4-1, with Councilwoman Smith voting no, okay? So this is to send out letters to Blackstone, okay?
the existing Blackstone
Residents, right,
Homeowners in Blackstone.
And I can do that by the end of the week, too.
Right,
That's no problem.
Yeah,
that's it. Okay,
I would also just like to add, moving forward, we talked about updating ordinances and getting together as a council to look at those things. So I think that at that time, we could probably decipher what needs to be sent out and when at that time.
Sounds good.
okay, all right, okay.
Got a question. The main focus should be on the access road. Is that correct? Are we speaking up to make sure that they understand that they are going to have some additional homes in the area? I know we're talking about two things. but I
My
think-
plan was,
I think the main objective is making sure that they will understand the access road, the condition of it, and what we're planning to do to upgrade it. Now,
Mayor-
that's the reason why
Mayor Pro Tem, that's not
No.
the understanding that I have.
that's where I'm at with it.
We're
That's-
just informing the current homeowners,
Right,
doesn't include renters, homeowners, that there is an additional phase with how many houses in that second?
12 more additional houses to complete it out.
And certainly,
make it
anybody
28.
can call and talk to staff if they've got.
So you're not going to address the issue with the access road? Because that was my vote.
We stand for council direction on that.
Can you restate what you're
A question?
Yes, sir.
My question is, are we focusing on the access road? Because to me, that's one of the most important puzzle behind this, or missing piece behind this. It's because they're not aware of not only the actual home's gonna be built, also, they need to be aware of how the access road gonna be kept up, are we gonna do an upgrade to it? You know, because there is a concern to them, that, the entrance, they have a tree right there at the entrance of that development. And they talk like they having some serious problem with that tree. If that tree goes down, they won't have no ways or means to get out. So the access road is going to be the only other option that they will have. So I'm thinking that that's what we was addressing was the access road. And I appreciate that. I just get some clarity on it. I know I already done vote and that's it, but I'm good with that, but still, that's my concern, is the access road.
I think I might be thinking the same thing you are. For a point of clarification, this is not a second access in and out. This is a fire and emergency lane. It's not ever been intended to be another entrance to this neighborhood. And I'm wondering if that might be a point of clarification that needs to be made.
It is correct that it's just intended as a fire access lane and not a public road.
Or emergency access. I mean, fire predominantly, but our other emergency services, I suppose, could use it if needed. But yes, it's not for the residents there to utilize it.
So we need to vote on the approval of this plat, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, so now, that's where we're at now.
I make a motion to approve the Section 3 preliminary plat for Blackstone.
I second.
Have a motion made by Councilwoman Smith, second by Councilwoman Dr. Brandon Harrell, to approve Blackstone Section 3 preliminary plat. No discussion, please use your clicker to vote. Motion carried 4-1. Ms. Robinson, Councilwoman Robinson voting no. Okay, that motion carried. All right. Next up is 11 at Main plat. Stephen?
All right, next we have a final plat for 11 at Main Phase 2. So 11 at Main is located off of Highway 11 Winterville Parkway right here. There's Cruz Street, as you've seen, just got constructed on Highway 11 into this development. So this right here is Main Street, just to kind of give everybody a little bit of understanding where we are. And this is the first phase of 11 at Main. It's a townhome development near this downtown area. The applicant is 11 at Main LLC. Again, this is located between Highway 11 and Mill Street. Phase 2, this will be the Phase 2 of the development. This has 4.07 acres and is proposing 57 single-family attached units within 9 buildings. The zoning on this is multifamily residential. As you can see, just to the north here is where the existing first phase ends. This area has been constructed and finalized by the developer for the final plat now. So as you see, there's 9 buildings located on these roads right here. And again, it was 57 units in total. So the access from this will be this way to Main Street, Highway 11, and then Mill Street accesses to the north as well. This is just a closer image of the final plat. Staff recommends approval of the final plat. It meets the preliminary plat's design. It also has received technical review committee approval and has gone through the standards to meet all town requirements. Planning and Zoning Board did unanimously recommend approval at their April meeting. If anybody has any questions.
Ms. Robinson?
No, I do.
Okay, all right.
I went over there. I was astonished at the number of retention ponds in that development. So with this section here, How many retention ponds will be needed to be built? Will they build them?
So if,
Therefore, it must be some drainage issues over there.
if you just went, then this phase of it is already constructed. So next, once this is approved, would be the buildings going up. So if you went this past week or so, then all of the existing retention ponds for the development as you see it today have been developed. Now, if there's future phases, they will likely have to do some, retention ponds on future areas, but.
This section here would not require any more retention ponds.
No, so this was designed to meet, well, retention ponds were constructed to meet the requirements of this area too. Yes, ma'am. So everything that's on site right now meets the requirements for all of the impervious that will be on this site in the future.
All right, as there's no other, could I get a motion on 11 at Main plat?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve of the 11 and Main final plat.
Second.
Have a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Moy, second by Councilwoman Smith, to approve 11 at Main final plat. After no discussion, please use your clicker. Motion carry. Thank you. The next item up is going to be the Human Relation Board's replacement member. Because we didn't get it out, we're going to table this until.
Don, so in your packet, there were 2 applicants referenced. If you noticed, the applications were inadvertently left out for those 2. We did have a third person who had expressed interest in a previous application, who is also Ms. Roach, who is also serving on another board. We've made a copy of that application at your desk. I don't know how council wants to address it due to the fact that that the 2 applications were inadvertently omitted from the packet.
Okay. Well, of course, we did approve a agenda that said it was in, isn't that correct?
How many spots are open for?
The
2?
6,
Okay.
6-member board, there are
2
2 current
spots.
vacancies. Again, the names are referenced for 2 of the considerations in the agenda packet. Ms. Shatoria Roach has also expressed interest, found out about that today, so we've included her application, and we stand by for direction from council on how they want to proceed.
Council, how do y'all want to proceed on this? Because
In looking at the dates on these applications, I'd say I make a motion that we appoint Ms. Roach, Shatora Roach, and Dr. Raymond James. And this board does not have an alternate, does it?
No, ma'am, not currently.
And appoint LaToya Jones as alternate.
so then you're going from 6 to 7, all right?
6
'Cause
plus an alternate.
Yeah, 6
The
plus
alternate, because
Right.
it seems like we have a lot of people who don't, we've had a lot of turnover. So if we have an alternate, that would give us the extra person.
But that ain't what your bylaws say.
Can we, Ken, I was
I
gonna
mean,
ask, can we go
Yeah,
ahead?
that was gonna be my question. I haven't looked at it in a little while, but I wasn't sure that the
It doesn't include an alternate.
That's
It's easy enough to add an alternate, but I don't know whether they can move forward. They can't move forward with appointing an alternate until it's added to the
Yeah,
bylaws.
yes, ma'am, I think that would be the case. If we appointed them without them being approved, I don't know if they could vote if they were, trying to serve. And I think you need to get it changed first.
So are we able to just vote on the 2 that Councilwoman Robinson, I'm sorry, did you make a
She
motion?
made a motion. but
Okay,
it's
so
no
the
good.
motion,
I withdraw that motion.
You withdraw the motion?
I'll withdraw the
Okay,
motion.
she withdrew the motion because she she withdrawing the motion because she said that she wanted to add an alternate. Now, she can go back and make a motion to accept whoever, whatever one she wants, right, whatever two you want, right? Or anybody can make the motion, not just her.
I just had okay, well, she withdrew it, but I just had a question. Since we have three, and it's two that we're gonna vote on, will the, Human Relations Board be able to go in and update or amend their bylaws at the next meeting to add an alternate if that is, okay, all right, thank you. That's my question.
And that's why I was saying if we table this, give the Human Relations Council a chance to go in and look at amending the bylaws.
The Human Relations, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So even if we voted on two, we could essentially vote on two to have them in and present at the next meeting, and then change the bylaws at that time to add the additional alternate. So I don't,
That's what I'm saying, you can make that motion,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I make the motion that we appoint Shatoria Roach and Dr. Raymond James to the Human Relations Council.
Okay.
Second.
All right, have a motion on the floor and a second. Motion made by Councilwoman Robinson, second by Councilwoman Dr. Brandon Harrell to elect Shatoria Roach and Dr. Raymond O. James III. Any discussion? If none, get your clicker. Motion carried. Okay, so there are new board members for the Human Relations Council. All right, thank you.
We will get the bylaws updated for the next Human Relations Board meeting, and I do think council will also have to approve the bylaws, and we'll have that for the next board meeting.
That's right, it'll have to ultimately come back to this,
us, right.
to this board for approval.
And since this is a public meeting, the Human Relations Board, we could invite LaToya Jones just to sit in and see how it works and stuff like that.
sure.
Because
And
I served on the library board on the side for 2 years. I just went to the meetings, I couldn't vote or anything. But by the time I got appointed, I knew, you know, kind of the workings of the board. So we could invite her to do that.
And we don't mind giving her an introductory overview of what the Human Relations Board is, as well as let her leave with a takeaway packet of what we do and our mission and goals.
Yeah, because she can come just, you know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right,
Invite her.
thank you. Next up is change in the August meeting date because we have Electric City, and so we normally change that date.
I make a motion that we change the August meeting date to accommodate the Electric Cities Conference this year.
That's August the 4th.
Let's see here.
Whatever the date is that accommodates it.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's the
The
Monday
date due,
before. The Monday
August.
before.
Yes, it'll be August the 4th.
August the 4th.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, all right. Have a motion on the floor, motion made by Councilwoman Robinson. Do you second? Who second? Oh, Smith.
Councilman.
All right, and second by Councilwoman Smith to change our August meeting date to August the 4th at 6:00 p.m. here in the town hall. Any discussion? If not, vote with your clicker, please. Motion carried. Thank you. Next up is other agenda items. Ripe for revival. Councilwoman Harrell.
Yes, just wanted to bring it to council's attention. I've had the opportunity to shop with Right for Revival, and also I've been in discussion with the Office of Community Health and Dr. Jackson at ECU Health regarding the location of the Right for Revival mobile market, which is located right now at the community fire station, which is a great location. However, you know, we were looking at different data points based on food insecurity. Even though Winterville is a thriving place, You know, we have a high level of home ownership, but we also have a pocket of poverty in Winterville. And so where the location is, or it is adjacent to a lot of the areas with high prevalence of chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and things of that nature. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, so this is not just about food insecurity. It's more than just resources and groceries and things of that nature. It is disease prevention and then just community wellness. So I wanted to bring it in a spirit of collaboration to you all's attention to think about places where the mobile market could be parked. I thought about Hillcrest Park and think, you know, different locations. And so I would like to have the council's input, and we don't have to nail down a place or places tonight, but maybe through email. And so again, I wanted to bring it to your attention and also share the video from Mr. Tyndall, who is the director for Rightful Revival, because it is a great resource for our community. Thank you.
You know, there's a lot of guilt and shame when a provider is unable to provide. And so by driving into a rural community that doesn't have a grocery store with a big bus that's basically a large mobile billboard that says, hey, fresh food here. When that bus pulls into town, there's food available. My name is Will Cornigi. I'm the founder and CEO of Rightful Revival. Originally, we had no intention at all to run a nonprofit. We originally founded this company to actually make gummies out of sweet potatoes. We were upcycling produce into a value-added product. And the presence of food insecurity nationally, but really more importantly locally here in Eastern North Carolina, and the need for professionals in the nonprofit sector who understand food safety, who understand food distribution, who have access to be able to create this economies of scale. Really open our eyes to the need. These families are having to choose how they spend their money, how their income impacts their livelihood. And so we love the pay what you can model because it opens up the door to a lot of opportunity to put food in front of them with the option to pay what they can, so that if they need to pay their utility bill and their mortgage that month and they don't have anything left over for food, they still have a dignified approach to providing for their family. Our markets are open to anyone and everyone, no matter what walk of life they are in. People can feel that as they shop with their neighbors and their community members, that they're all on the same level. And 9 times out of 10, those families who didn't pay anything last week come back the next week and pay it forward for others because they were bought simple relief during a time when they needed it. And it really provided this sense of just community that you can't explain. You know, taking food to people is good, and that's what we do. And so collaborating with Smithfield Foods and having the resources that we wouldn't otherwise have has allowed us to not only expand our mobile market fleet, but also to expand our reach and our impact with a number of people. And so if we're serving 50 sites a week with an average of 100 neighbors participating in each event, that is tens of thousands of families a month that we're serving because partners like Smithfield Foods have invested in what we're doing.
We got a little bit of everything, eggs, milk, bacon, broccoli. We got some of everything. And it's a blessing. The program is a blessing. Nowadays times are hard. Every little bit helps. So we really appreciate it. It's a blessing to not only us, but everybody that comes out. We thank God for y'all.
The ability to have genuine relationships with people, where we meet them where they are, they're strangers, because food brings people together. Our goal is through partnerships like that with Smithfield Foods, we're able to be kind of hands and feet on the ground to understand how communities need support and to be able to provide opportunities to connect them with people that can make difference in their life. I'm Will Cornigi, and we love Smithfield because good is what they do.
I was going to ask Dr. Harrell, do you think you could, talking with Terry also, get with Tristan, our economic development person, to look at different areas in town? The west side, the south, so that it could be moved around.
Right.
The area where I'm sorry, where everybody can take advantage of it, you know?
Right.
So we could maybe have a schedule when they're gonna be at a certain area.
Yeah.
Let you and Tristan maybe get together.
Sure.
You know,
That
and
works.
kind of map out something, kind of look at different areas.
That works
you know,
perfect.
Stephen, you know, y'all can look at that and kind of.
I'd love to do
Then
that.
that way, we can then put it out in the newsletter, they're gonna be such and such here, such and such, you know, so
And they're
that
coming
way.
currently, right?
Yeah, so they are already coming. Again, they are at the community fire department, which again is a great location. I did drive there.
Right.
But also you want to make sure that it's in a walkable location as well. They are coming, or they come on Thursdays from 2 to 3:30. And I just gotta say, like, I was able to get like a carton of eggs for like $3. And so, and just, you know, just different foods, as the guy said in the video, you know, the broccoli and things of that nature, and the produce and everything was very fresh. The folks that are on the mobile market, very friendly. And, you know, folks didn't have it to pay, they didn't have to pay at that time.
Right, that's what I was gonna say, make sure you mention that.
Yes.
Because they meet you wherever you are.
They meet you wherever you are. So, you know, there was a person, if their groceries came up to, you know, $17 and they only had $3, guess what? You're able to pay the $3. And so I just think that this is a great resource for our community. It just aligns with who we are as Winterville. As we all say, we want everybody to have that slice of the good life. So we want to provide that opportunity for everyone.
So they accept U cards and.
I'm not sure about all methods of payment, but I can't ask them, but I'm pretty
Yes.
sure that they probably
Because a
do.
lot of people have those
Right.
cards.
Yes, I'll ask about the U cards. If you could send that in the email, then I'll remember to ask when. it's
Okay,
due.
then.
But I think that would be doable if
Yes.
y'all could kind of get that together, whatever. All right,
Thank
but thank you for bringing it to our
Yeah.
attention too. Next,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You said they are here every Thursday?
Yes.
From 2 to 3?
Yes, sir.
So this coming Thursday?
Yes.
They will be at where?
They will be at the Winterville Community Fire Department. It's at the 2564 Mill Street, in Winterville, at the Community Fire Department.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Affordable Housing, Councilwoman Hawkins.
Yes, I think that this is a good segue into my first item. First, I want to say, Dr. Harrell, I think that program would be very substantial in our area, especially during the summertime with fruits and vegetables for the youth and families who may not be able to get access to those things during the summer. So that is wonderful. I wanted to talk about affordable housing, and I put affordable housing, but in terms of availability for affordable housing, that is what I want to speak of. Each month we come as a town, and I know Winterville is growing by leaps and bounds, which is a great thing, but we must keep the people of the town of Winterville at the core of what we are doing and why we are building. We are essentially building around people and families. And so just availability of affordable housing should be something that we keep in mind. When you think about the income, overall income, the average income combined is at $80,000. However, at the lower scale, you have incomes as low as mid-30,000, and then it can rise all the way up to over 100,000. When we think about people who live here in Winterville, we want to move forward, but we also want to give the people of Winterville hope to actually move upward. And moving upward is affording and expanding opportunities for housing that is available within their means. Mortgage, even if rent is one scale, you have home ownership another scale. I would like to say, as a council person, I am seeking how we, as a council, as a town, can ensure that when developers come here to Winterville, that they are sharing how they can extend a hand to our everyday working families. They should not be limited to upper scale, $200,000, $300,000 rates to purchase homes. We want to move forward, but we want to move upward as well by reaching back to the people. That's what I had to say about availability in housing. And I would like for you all to keep that at the forefront when the developers come in next month. I will be asking about how they are helping those who live here already or who want to come here, who is not at an income of $60,000 and upward. We want to ensure that there is an equal slice of the good life here in Winterville.
I got a question. Stephen, Mr. Penn and me. What is considered an affordable house in Winterville price?
I'm not sure. The last time I've seen the definition of affordable housing, I believe it was you're spending less than 30% of your income on your home, is my understanding.
2941. 2941.
Percent.
Yeah. 29%.
Of your income.
Of your income. 29%.
Okay.
That's what the metrics is on the federal, 2941. Next is Councilwoman Hawkins' staff.
Yes, so I wanted to speak to the staff in Winterville. I am the strong voice for the people, and I know the expectation is for me to say something perhaps negative or a critique about the staff here in Winterville. Well, I am also unpredictable. And what I would like to do today is to see how we as a council, as the town, how do we actually acknowledge those unsung heroes here on the staff in Winterville. We see the department heads of the departments every single month. However, we do not have the opportunity to actually see the intricacies of the staffing here in Winterville. Unsung heroes we have 10 various departments. Who's working within those departments that are not readily seen, who are not getting that recognition. So what I would like to do or ask, is there anything in place for a staff appreciation month here in Winterville, and or is there a staff of the month?
We don't have staff of the month, and we don't have an official appreciation month per se. I do know that the management team tries to work hard with their respective departments to offer appreciation by taking them out to lunch. I'm just using these as examples. Some of the items you all received tonight, I know staff in that specific department received those items or some of those items. If I forget anything, guys, let me know. But there's a variety of ways that we try to, and also tell staff how much we appreciate them. But I am sure they would be more than happy to hear that from council members.
Thank you for explaining that. What I would like to actually see more of is, I don't know how this can be done or I can articulate it. There needs to be some sort of way in which all staff feel appreciated. I don't know, y'all don't have a staff appreciation week. Can somebody come up and share how they appreciate their staff?
Did we have a lunch
Right.
in the spring?
Yeah, it was spring.
No,
We,
I used to come up.
during,
That's-
historically, there have been a
Somebody-
couple of lunches a year. And obviously, we try to have the holiday event.
Right.
And but certainly I know that individual departments do.
Someone come up.
That was a employee appreciation luncheon that we used to attend in the summer. It was close to the summer, no, it was warm.
Well, we did one, first part of the year,
Remember
and
the
then,
employees
right.
used to cook the chickens?
We gotta get back on that schedule,
Right.
because sometimes, you know, if they enjoy cooking, that's one thing, but you also hate to ask them to cook if they don't necessarily enjoy it, if it's for appreciation, but yes.
I can speak to the utilities departments, on their behalf. Emergency services have their own little, events. But for us on the utility side, as you can see this week, we have, coming up, public work appreciation, employee appreciation. On the electric side, we have the same thing, electric worker, employee appreciation. And then anytime, throughout the course of the year, we'll have lunches with them. They're not very large events, because we do try to keep them quick and so we can get back to work, but we do try to acknowledge them, recognize them. If their safety award last year, things of that nature on the electric side, there's always things, opportunities we try to seek out. And so is there, to say we couldn't do other things different, absolutely. We're, always open to ideas and thoughts, but, historically we've had birthday lunches and things of that nature. So if it's an employee's birthday, we'd go to lunch with them, things of that nature. But the emergency services, I can't speak for them, but that's what we do in utilities.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I was just gonna piggyback off Councilwoman Hawkins. I was gonna say July could be a month that we could do it, but that would put, like, I know for you and Councilwoman Smith, that'll put y'all out of school, correct? Oh, you year-round? Oh, she's year-round, but you'll be out, right, Councilwoman?
No.
I'm trying to make it so,
We don't
if we're
have
gonna do
contracts.
if we're gonna do appreciation, I would like to see the council there. I mean, there's no need to be doing appreciation. I want to make sure that we are there to show our appreciation. But I like what you're saying, and maybe, I was thinking July, because that would give us time, everybody to kind of be, able to participate.
I will say internally, staff, and there are several management team members that work collectively, so, and I'll just use these examples not to miss anyone, but Diane's notorious for bringing goodies and bringing them for all of the departments. She helped me, just an example, donuts, Krispy Kreme donuts as one example. And there are many more examples, but I know that police, fire, they cook for their folks occasionally. A multitude of things are done, but we certainly, I think, council's involvement in letting employees know that you all appreciate them as well would probably mean a lot.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that, whenever we do our budget every year, we talk about the merit pay. And to me, that's what the merit pay consists of, to recognize our staff doing an outstanding job. A dinner is good, birthday party is good, but once the hot dogs and hamburgers and all that is gone, it's gone. But when you start talking about a merit pay, somebody have done something outstanding, that is something that they can have on a regular or year-round, or it can grow with them towards their retirement. So one of those, I must admit, I'm gonna throw my hands up right now. I'm dead against merit pay because it can be very biased. And I mean, and that's where I come from the workforce that I used to work in. We had merit, and it was always the same one. And you can see one get out there and they dig just as hard as the other one, but they've never been recognized. But that's in the past. I'm looking at what we have in place here in the town of Winterville. We do have the merit pay. And if that is working, I don't think that it has been identified to a point to say, not to me, let me say it has not been identified to me who have received it and what they have done to achieve it. You know, there's a twofold things, word of mouth and then put it in action. So that's where I'm at with it. And I think that's one of the problems that I've been having with merit pay. I think there's a good tool to use to recognize staff. But is it done the right way?
I can speak to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Moy, you know, merit systems are by and large hard work.
Yes, it is.
Good ones should be hard work. We've been working on folks, management team members and mid-level supervisors have been working on performance reviews now for many weeks. We have a scaled system, meeting below expectations, meet expectations, exceed expectations, and that may not be exactly the right wording, but I think trying to make better employees and also show appreciation, but to actually work with employees to make better employees is obviously the goal of what we're trying to achieve. So as you bring in new folks, they have to get used to a system, and we're sort of revamping our system. But I feel good about where we're going. But again, it's not easy. If it were easy, everybody would do it and do it well. So what we're trying to do is implement a well-run, well-put-together performance review program.
Thank you.
Can I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So thank you. I appreciate the robust discussion about ways in which staff can be recognized. It is imperative that every staff person knows and understands that they are appreciated, right? They are unsung heroes, those that are not seen, that are doing the work each and every day need to be recognized. I would encourage the department heads, I don't know, based on this discussion, I don't know if there needs to be some sort of formality in implementing a staff appreciation week. Now, how you all do that's fine, but I will, say that this is on my mind. Mayor Hines just said that perhaps we can do something in July. I think there needs to be an overall town-wide staff appreciation week. Merit pay is fine, but if you have not met that performance level, does that mean that you are not appreciated? Appreciation and performance merit are two different things. Appreciation. So I wanted to bring that forward, and I think that the council should actually look at that. Again, I am notorious for bringing things up and being met with silence, but what I want to say is it's very important that all staff feel valid and are recognized. And we can leave that until I bring it back up again next month.
Thank you. Next is Juneteenth, Councilwoman Hawkins.
So yes, so I wanted to speak to Juneteenth. As a chairwoman, co-chair with Ms. Carmen on the Winterville Human Relations Board, April 24th, on our agenda, we had a discussion about Juneteenth and having an event for Juneteenth. This discussion was very intricate. It went on for about 45 minutes to an hour. Town Manager Parker was present for that discussion and also was a participant in the planning of it. I later learned that there was another Juneteenth event being planned. The very premise of Juneteenth is transparency. Enslaved people did not know they were free until over 2.5 years later because of communication and a lack of transparency. So as I sit here today, I would like to say that it is very important that we communicate and collaborate, especially when it comes to Juneteenth. I have since spoken to Ms. White of the Chamber of Commerce, and we, as the Human Relations Board, would indeed like to be unified when they are having their Juneteenth event. I know a lot of variations in terms of the time and the setup for what we wanted to plan was not stapled in. However, it was fully discussed, and I believe that the Chamber of Commerce should have been made notice that we had this in our plans. So again, in terms of the Winterville Human Relations Board, we are indeed ready. I don't know if we needed to bring that before council for an approval. Every time the Winterville Human Relations Board has an event, we bring it before the council. However, we learn of various events from other staff or other events without it being brought before the board. So, Town Manager Parker, do I need to make a motion for our Juneteenth event for the Winterville Human Relations Board? Now, I know we spoke about equipment for the movies. We spoke about the 20th where staff would not be available because they're helping for the summer bash. What I would like to say is that there are days prior to the 19th, and there are days after that. We would like to have Juneteenth movie in the park as we planned. So do I need to make a motion for that?
I do think council needs to vote on that. And you touched on what the Human Relations Board wants to do, and council's been copied on our communication.
Sure.
But do you mind giving a quick recap of what you all are proposing to do?
So I can give a quick recap, but we have been back and forth in terms of what we wanted to do. Also, Town Manager Parker, I'm requesting that when we have Winterville Human Relations Board's meetings and Mr. Harvey, that we get the minutes to that so we can be specific in what we are speaking to. So I can recap it, but we planned, and you were very vocal with planning and participant in the planning of a Juneteenth movie in the park on June 20th. That was dated for the Friday, June 20th, the day after Juneteenth. And this would include the movie Soul. We spoke in detail about this, getting popcorn, how we would advertise, various ways of advertising, and then I didn't hear anything. I later was contacted by Ms. White of the Chamber of Commerce, and I am honestly confused as to whether she brought up Juneteenth or she was tasked to do Juneteenth. Again, this goes back to being unified, right? Being transparent, not, we know something is happening and then I'm later learning of another event. And what message does that send to a town? You're having two different Juneteenth events within days of each other and neither one knew about it. So that is a concern of mine. Within the emails, we talked about, I was told that staff would be unavailable. Initially, I was given various rates for Juneteenth. Over $600 for this, for a movie projector. over $600, over 400. I need to pull my stuff up. If I knew I had to do this tonight, I would, if you give me a moment, I can pull it up. In total, I was given an estimated amount to rent materials for movies in the park on Juneteenth of a total of $2,015. My question as a council was, why in the world and how in the world would a board, an in-town board, have to rent equipment from a town who purchased equipment as materials for the community? We are not asking to utilize these equipments for ourselves. We're doing it for the community. Secondly, I asked, is there a policy for this? I've never heard of, and although you've never heard of a board asking to utilize materials, I've never heard of a board being told you would have to rent something. We should not have to rent something. That is materials bought for the people of the town. So that is the totality of it. Then I was told maybe we should do it at a later date. Well, Juneteenth is on June 19th, so we could do it a few days before or maybe a day or two after. But to do it in another month is, no, we're not gonna do that. The very premise of Juneteenth is being made aware of something right then and there. And this was made a national holiday back in 2021, and here we sit in 2025, and when I spoke to Juneteenth, I brought it up and shared that we're gonna do an introduction and discussion of it. Mayor Hines was present, and he, exited the room. However, that was brought up. I don't know if he had something in his ear or what. He can leave and go when he wants to, but I'm just making note that that was brought up. The mayor left out, the town manager had a discussion about it, and then I later learned of an additional Juneteenth. So I say all that to say, we need to be unified in what we do. We need to communicate. We need to be transparent in what we do. And we don't need to make either feel like this is something divisive. It would be a disgrace to enslaved people and this very celebration of it, for that to occur. And so if I need to continue, I will, but I would like, and we need to bring this before the council before we have it, but a lot of other things go on and it's not brought before the council. So it's before the council now.
If I may respond to some of the things, Ms.
Sure.
Hawkins, you are exactly correct. I
Sure.
filled in for Mr. Harvey, who was out of town on the 24th. You all talked about 3 events that you already had planned. 2 of those had been before, well, actually, all 3 had been before the previous council meeting, and you all were looking at your summer event, setting a date and whatnot for that. So we brought that back for approval. During the discussion, I stated what I later found out incorrectly, that I thought we rented all of the equipment when we put on movies in the park. Got together with Ms. White, our Parks and Rec director, and determined that we do own some of that equipment, but due to the fact that staff was not available the evening of the 20th, 19th or 20th, 19th it being the holiday and town offices are closed, and the 20th, they will be working in preparation for the Summer Bash, which is not a Juneteenth event, certainly can be celebrated along with, but that's why no staff would be available the evening of the 20th. Ms. White put together some costs of what it might look like to hold the event if you had to rent all the equipment. That total was $2,015 and, excuse me, 67 cents. And that includes all of the equipment, renting the movie, and again, we're talking about movie costs due to copyright issues that are cost way above. It costs about, what, $500 to $600 to rent just the movie. And then popcorn, bags, if you wanted to have that, snacks, candy, chips, just some suggestions. Then we did get into the conversation about whether that equipment is available to loan out, i.e. outside of staff. I spoke regarding Winterville only. I have dealt with these issues elsewhere, but I'm referring to Winterville only when I said we have not historically loaned our equipment out due to its cost and rather detailed setup that comes about in putting it together. So it was not, I don't believe I said, I think I used the term alternate dates in terms of if staff would be available to help set up. I don't think I said another month, just an alternate date. I did also relay the events. The town is having a movie in the park on the 6th of June, a concert on the 13th of June, and the Summer Bash on the 21st, just giving those dates as possibilities for collaboration. In terms of the chamber event, I don't have anything to do with that. I did not know at the time they were planning an event. I know Ms. White, I know Rebecca, we recently met, but the town didn't have anything to do with the event that they've planned, so I can't speak to, I can speak to trying to improve communication so that we're all on the same page about events as they go on, but that was nothing that we had anything to do with. So I would like council's direction, if you all choose to vote to proceed with this, on how you'd like us to handle the whole equipment issue. And it's not renting from the town, it's renting from someone who has this type of equipment.
So again, thank you for that summary. Again, when we talk about, when I bring up things, I have been met with the word historically. For me, that translates as, no, this is how we do it, this is how we usually do it. And so what I want to say respectfully, Town Manager Parker, and you have worked with me on various things, but a lot of things you say historically. So historically we do this, but we're currently, we're presently, we're differently, we're conscientiously, we're momentarily, right? We are doing something timely, and we can't keep on saying historically. We have to change the mindset and do something different. In terms of the equipment, how intricate would it be to operate a projector? We're in the 21st century. Who do we need? Like, do we need like security? What do we need to do? Like, are we not trustworthy? Like, I don't understand if somebody can bring myself and the Winterville Human Relations Board to actually look at what's going on. So we can move to have the council decide whether we can use equipment that has been bought for the townspeople, right? I want to see, because my vote is a yes, but I would like to see the reasonableness of why in the world could an in-town board not use equipment for the people of the town.
Mayor, if I may, I would like to just clarify. I use the word historically not as a no. I don't think I've ever said no. I use it as a point of information for what I am familiar with, what staff's familiar with, just so that I can put that out there. I don't think my frame of mind is set in any way, shape, or form, and I think I prove that on the regular with council, staff, hopefully the public, but I am always willing to be open for new ideas. There are times where staff feels strongly about the equipment they own, and we own a lot of equipment, the town does. I mean, we own really expensive equipment, but there are just times where if we're going to change the way we do things, sometimes council needs to have a little input into that. So
Sure. I agree. And again, this is for equipment for movie in the park, and yeah. we would like to utilize that. We discussed it, we discussed the movie, we would like to move forward with it, so.
And just for clarification, I was at the Human Relations Council as an observer, and at the time I did leave because at the time I had something else I had to do, not because of Juneteenth. Juneteenth, as we know, I know what it is, but we're also having an event that is correlating with East Carolina traffic safety. The HBCU is coming into town. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. I think it's going to, HBCU is bringing in about 33 people to do some, like putting out mulch and all that. So, you know, I didn't get up because of that. I just had to leave because I had something else. But I sat in there and I listened to the Human Relations Council. I listened to you all talk about it. And, you know, great ideas, you got a lot of stuff, but let's be real clear, what you want to do, you're going to need a lot more participation. You only got 4 people. Hold on, but you're going to need volunteer, and that's what I'm hoping that you're going to say. Can you get some volunteers? You know, because what you're planning, you know, and what you want to do, the movie and all that, that's all well and fine, but you're going to need some help along with the Human Relations Council. You know, putting on and planning events are great, but you can't just you can't just come up with it, and I'm just saying this, you can't come up with it one day and expect to put it on, because it takes time to plan events. You know, events are planned way out. And that's what I want to see, not just with the Human Relations Council, but I want to see with all the boards. If we're going to plan events, then these events need to be planned out so we can look at it, make sure that we got everything in line. Like you talking about equipment. This equipment shouldn't be ready at the last second. It should have been planned out. We should have had this equipment lined up, ready to go. If, you know, if there was something else going on the 21st, which it is, you would have known that. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that we need to know from going forward, to me, as far as a board perspective, from all boards, not just the Human Relations Board, but from all boards. If they're going to be planning any kind of event in the town, I think we need to know, and I think that's what good boards do. They set their calendars to the year. I mean, I know things change. You know, specifically, Juneteenth is one of your core points. We know for us on this board, Christmas is one of our main things that we do as far as a Christmas dinner. You know, so we know, which we don't even have an integral part in it, but we know the Watermelon Festival is in August. And we know that we got to have people and volunteers from, you know, the in-kind staff, from the electric department, the recreation department. They know in August that's where they're going to be at. You know, so that's what I'm saying. So.
Mayor and Councilwoman Hawkins, may I just ask a quick question? Is the event solely based on or surrounded on the movie, or are there other components? And the only reason I ask is because, quite frankly, I don't know how one goes about getting the licensing for a movie to be shown, or how I'm not sure about the equipment, like from what device it's shown. So I guess there's probably a lot of things that I'm not aware of that would go into it, and so I guess I think it's a great idea. If you could maybe, if it goes on without the movie and out all those unknowns, could it still proceed, or is that the main focus, I guess is what I'm asking.
Before Ms. White speaks, I want to respond to the mayor, and then I'm going to respond to you. Now, we sit here, and we're going to have an intricate discussion about Juneteenth, right? And we're going to have an intricate discussion about the planning, and we should dig into planning and know what we're doing. I get emails all of the time with events that are happening within the next day from the Chamber of Commerce, constantly openings. The event for Juneteenth that is happening in the park, we got maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we were not asked about it. We were told that this is going to take place. So can somebody tell me what events have been taking place where there has not been enough time allotted outside of the Winterville Human Relations Board? If that is what we're referring to, then yes, we have planned 2 or 3 things in May. Prior to that, there was no planning for anything, and the Human Relations Board was dissolved because inactivity, and that reactivated. So instead of being hesitant about having activities that would engage the community, we should be applauding it. Now we sit here and we're trying to be intricate and find reasonings for not having that. In terms of the licensure for the movies, that could have been brought up to us on April 24th. And if there was no answer for that, then when Ms. Parker reached out to Ms. White in terms of the movie, that should have been told, hey, we own this, but y'all have to get this. That was April 24th or 26th when the communication occurred. We sit here May 12th talking about this. And you can go, Ms. White, and then when you finish, if I need to respond again. And respectfully, when somebody is speaking and you know, I just feel like we just need to be a little bit more respectful of each other. Everybody has a right to their own opinions, but unless somebody can show, and secondly, I asked for the policy. There's no policy in place that says that an in-town board cannot rent equipment. Now, if we're breaking the mold and we're doing something different and new, good, that's great. But if there's no policy, here we go, doing impromptu stuff without policy or ordinances. And then what happens is emotions come in. I'm well-versed on productive struggle, and I am not, you know, this is not getting to me. I am the strong voice for the people, and I'm gonna keep on speaking for what needs to be spoken to. Yes, ma'am.
Diane, before you start, I just asked Diane to come up because I don't know the technical specifics behind the equipment, so she would definitely know that.
So for the licensure, basically we go through a company, and so that can vary for pricing depending on, there's different categories that you would have to choose from, whether if it's a school or Parks and Recreation, or if it's a nonprofit. So you go to that site and you would choose which category that you apply to, and then from there, they will set you up an account, and then from that, you'll have basically your representative from that company will reach out to you and discuss what type of movies you're looking for, any type of posters that you may want to use, and then with the fees that are associated with that.
Thank you very much. I also want to point out that I shared, and Ms. White have been on the stream of emails. Parks and Recreation shows about 4 to 5 movies per year, right? So they are intricate, they know how this goes. In fact, there's a movie, I believe, dated for maybe the 24th or 25th. So the equipment is ready. And if someone would have shared, hey, you need to get this together, we would have been ready to do it, and we still are. So if that's the intricacies, I thank you, Ms. White, for your expertise in how to go about getting this done. I do not see what the big barrier is about with having movies in the park. And to answer your question, Councilwoman, Councilwoman Smith, sorry. Councilwoman Smith, to answer your question, there is additional parts to the program in which we was going to have various speakers. In the beginning, having children to say something about Juneteenth, having a variety of things, and these would have been in our minutes because we discussed this intricately, how we wanted this to look. Even having speakers who have had people in the past in their families who may have been enslaved and doing something part of the intermission. So we discussed these various things. We just didn't want to say, okay, it's Juneteenth, here's a movie. We would like children and families to know what it's about. And the movie, if anybody wants to know, is the movie Soul. It's a Disney movie. It's a fun movie. It's about following your dreams and your purpose. It is nothing pinpointing or targeting anybody. It is a movie to bring people together. And I'm really disappointed in us even having such a long discussion about this. We want to have a movie for the community for Juneteenth, my God. We are not breaking any laws.
You're saying that the people run the equipment not available on Juneteenth. Are they not available because it's a holiday and they're off, or are they not available because they're not gonna be in town or something like that?
It's a holiday.
I know it's a holiday.
For the 19th.
I actually made motion for it to become a holiday.
Correct.
Right.
But I'm asking because I'm sitting here and I'm comparing it to the festival. That's Saturday and Sunday. Our people are not required to be at work a lot of, and they are at work, and they are doing the things to support it. And I kind of look at these things, if we're looking at it from the point of view that they're not here because it is a holiday, national holiday, and they're off, I compare that to, I work Monday through Friday and I'm off on Saturday. So if it required that our people were here to run the equipment, would that be so different?
I'm trying to follow what you're saying.
Okay, I'm off on Friday, I'm off on Saturday.
Right.
Say, I'm gonna use Ron, pick on you. You're off on Saturday and Sunday, right? I mean, you're on call, but you're off. Now, during the festival, Ron has to work, but that's on the Saturday he's gotta work. You understand me?
I do.
A day that he's off, he's working. So, we got June 10th, and it's a national holiday, and I'm supposed to be off. We don't have anyone who is supposed to be off that will do it, that will run the equipment. That's the whole problem is.
Juneteenth was, we did discuss that at the Human Relations Board meeting. That's why the
I'm sorry I missed it.
No, that's why the 20th was picked. And I did state in the meeting that I didn't have any staff available because they were all working on the 20th to prepare for the event on the 21st. So yes, the 19th, that is a holiday. We don't normally we have shift people that work, emergency services. And if the electric department or water and sewer had to come in because of an emergency, we have people on call. But we don't normally bring people into work when they're off on a holiday. The 20th, the only reason they're not available, which normally we could work that around, that's the reason that I even suggested an alternate date, not to get away from Juneteenth, but just to try to see if there was an opportunity to bring folks in. But they'll be working because of the 21st event that Police, Fire, and Parks and Rec are heading out this summer.
And other communities have, they have activities on holidays.
How does that work? Yeah, it's a national holiday.
Yeah, it's a
People are
national
having
holiday.
parades,
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
having, like, even if we have nobody for the holiday, the day after, I know staff is helping for the summer bash, but my goodness, they're right here in town. It's not like they're traveling anywhere to help. And how tedious is that help? And can somebody, like, to operate the equipment, like, is there step-by-step, like, please, yeah, Ms. White, please
Well, in
tell
Parks
me,
and Rec,
how does that work?
you have 5 people in the department?
Total, we have 5 people in our department. 2 of them are maintenance. Normally, we have myself and then our recreation programmer and program supervisor. That also varies, just like right now, we're in baseball season. The equipment itself is not an easy setup. You have your speakers, you have your projector, you have your screen itself, you have to tie that down. You have to play the movie. The movie comes in a DVD, so you have to have that put it into a laptop, or depending on what type of device you may have. So it's not just you put a movie in and you show it. It's not just one thing of a simple push the button and it turns on. It takes several people to put everything together and work it.
Thank you. So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so Ms. White, you said you have about 5 people that
Yes,
help
ma'am.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have speakers, you have a device, you have a disc that goes in it, you have a projector. So myself, like my household, like I know the mayor said it's 4 people on the board, but we have like household, like people can do stuff. Now, with that being said, I know we're gonna say, don't let other people touch stuff. I understand that. But to put a projector down, tie it down, I have 3 devices myself, like, that doesn't seem very tedious to me. Like, it does, like, I set up my tent for the Watermelon Festival myself and put speakers out. It's like, it's not really hard if you, like, we are able-bodied people and we can do stuff. Mr. Bottoms is able-bodied. Miss Gregory is able-bodied. We have 2 new members, they're able-bodied. I'm just not understanding, and I thank you for explaining it, I really do. I'm just not understanding what the problem is. Because I'm gonna be honest, on this town board, if we wanna get something done, we get it done right then. We change stuff around, we gonna fix the policies later, we gonna do this. But when we don't wanna do stuff, there are barriers. And when we deplete that barrier, here come another one. All we want to do is to conduct a movie for Juneteenth, family-friendly community movie, and have people come in and speak to Juneteenth. We know that the climate of the nation is divided. We know that we have Juneteenth being enacted the 2021. It's 2025. We want to do something. We're willing to work with Chamber of Commerce, even though we learned about that later. And I don't know how they're having all of their stuff going. They're having all of their stuff going on the day, I think it's the day before Juneteenth, and they're having, you know, tents and vendors and so forth. This is all around the same time, but it was approved, they're doing it. This is what we would like to do on the 20th.
So with the chamber, not to interrupt, but with the Chamber of Commerce, that actually is part of Market on the Square, which is normally on a Thursday. But speaking with Rebecca, she didn't want to take away from that holiday, especially because staff were also going to be off. So that's why there was a discussion about moving it back. That way, if there's other events going on, or, you know, holiday, it didn't interrupt.
Can you say that again? They're not having it, or?
No, that's Market on the Square.
That's gonna be on Wednesday.
That's on Wednesday, which that's normally several times during the
Sure.
summertime. So,
Absolutely.
she just ended up moving it back to a Wednesday instead.
not for now on, just for
Just for
that.
Just for the
Right.
June one.
So that's happening, they're going on and they're having that as well. And again, we're gonna participate in that, but again, my premise is, we could have done something together, this is what we wanna do. And I'm listening to the council, and although it's 4 of us, when there's a will, there's a way. And that is what I'm beating on. If there's a will for us to take place, this council would approve it.
Okay, could we kind of bring this to a
I
close now?
got one question right quick.
All right. And
The question was asked by Town Manager Parker. It was asked, what do you need for the event? I think you named out popcorn, and then you named out the title of the movie. That was it. Is there anything else that you would need for the event? I mean, I didn't ever get the list. That's where I stopped at.
So, sir, respectfully, we talking about we want to know we having them. We talking about having the movie. Once we know we having the movie, then we can talk about the popcorn and the drinks, and if you want to dance and what you want to do. We're talking about, can this town approve a movie for the community to celebrate Juneteenth? And I thank you, and respectfully, I'm not trying to be rude, but popcorn, I can go to Dollar Tree and get popcorn and drink. I'm talking about what we talking about, the equipment and the approval.
Well, and that's what I was speaking of. I'm sorry. That's what I was speaking of when the question was asked. It was asked, what do you actually need? And we started out with, we're going to have the movie, So, that's the name of the movie. And then you did say popcorn. And I was waiting for you to, go in details on all the things that you actually need. That's the reason why I was asking this question. But we didn't never finish that part. So that's what I was asking.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you wanting to know the totality of what we need. And we discussed the intricacies, and that's why I say we have minutes to the meetings.
Okay.
Now, for me to go back, I already had to talk about the whole history.
Yes, ma'am.
We're right now having to have the council make a decision, and then we can pull up the minutes and what have you, and how does that look? We want to know how is it going to be first, then how does that look?
And I do think Councilwoman Hawkins is right. We just need to vote on the event itself and the use of the equipment.
And that's what I'm trying to get to now. So if the council, what is their pleasure for Juneteenth?
Which is June 20th.
Which is, the
At sunset.
Juneteenth, so we're saying
Sunset.
June 20th is the date, correct? June 20th is your date,
That
correct?
is correct.
All right,
That's the
June
date
20th.
to select.
What is the council's pleasure for June 20th for a Juneteenth celebration?
And Mayor, if I may, I did communicate with Town Manager Parker more than once. If we can't have it on the 20th, maybe we can have it a few days before. When we say June 20th, council, we would like that to be the target date, but we would like it within that week. My God, Juneteenth is Juneteenth.
Motion that
At the event.
have a celebration for Juneteenth sponsored by the Human Relations Board.
Yes, ma'am.
And to allow the Human Relations Board to utilize the equipment for the movie in the park.
Okay.
I think, I didn't forget anything, did I? Councilwoman Hawkins? No, I didn't forget anything.
All right.
Nope.
All right, what's the pleasure? Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Wilson.
So since Councilwoman Hawkins expressed that June 20th does not have to be the exact date, are there any dates where in that week that staff are available, since she's saying that this does not have to be the date, since this is the point of contingency as far as like the 20th, because no one is available because they're working on the other event.
I asked for Ms. White again because she knows their baseball schedule and whatnot, so.
Okay.
As long as, depending on if we have makeup schedule and tournament, just because we also have our tournament trails between Cal Ripken and Tar Heel. So that would be a question I would have to check with staff because I don't have that in front of me.
So staff availability would be contingent on whether there was makeup games, which is kind of an unknown that we can't really plan for. And if I'm not mistaken, the preferred date was the 20th, and you felt confident that your team with the Human Relations Board could
Yes.
execute all the equipment and things, so I guess.
20th.
Right.
So the 20th is what?
Yeah, we would target the 20th, but again, we were open for any other dates. But now, if any of those other additional options are contingent upon whether there's a makeup game, that's gonna leave us in lieu as well. So we're gonna focus on the 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So what is the pleasure of the board for,
On the 20th, got staff to set it up.
I don't think we do, but we're happy, if Human Relations Board members are happy to have a little lesson about how to
I
operate the
would
equipment.
love to. I would love to be guided on how to do that.
so, I mean, I'm waiting on y'all to make a
said-
motion.
are you-
Right,
I make a motion.
I second.
okay. All right, we got a motion. Hold on. What is your motion?
I'm thinking that motion is that Human Relations Board is authorized to have an event celebrating Juneteenth on
June 20th. Mm-hmm. No, you said June 20th.
June 20th, but that means that one day.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And to, if you would, to allow the use of the equipment for the movie in the park.
And to allow the use of equipment on downtown Winterville for a movie.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So we have a motion by Councilwoman Robinson, you, Council?
Second.
Councilwoman Dr. Brandy Harrell, second it to let, or not let, I hate to say that, but the Human Relations Board to host a movie in the park, Hillcrest, correct? Hillcrest Park?
It doesn't matter. Hillcrest, wherever.
I'm just-
Availability, yes, sir,
Right,
Hillcrest.
and we
Yes,
can
sir.
make
Sure,
specifically where it's gonna be at.
Hillcrest,
Right.
yes.
Councilwoman Hawkins, I do want you to speak with Diane, it's not contingent upon this motion, but afterward about where electricity is in Hillcrest. So it may be availability needs to scoot to the other part.
And
but-
that's the reason why I said that, because I'm not gonna say historically, but in the past, it's been at another location. So if now we're saying Hillcrest, it doesn't really matter to me
It doesn't,
where we have
I
it.
think the park
It doesn't
is
matter, as
available.
long as we have it, so that we can advertise to get the community to the location.
And I will find another word than historically,
That's
for
fine.
the future.
Well, all right, the motion is to post Juneteenth on June the 20th for a movie with the use of town equipment, correct? And I'm speaking that correct? With the use of town equipment, correct?
Yes.
All right, to have a celebration for Juneteenth, movie in the park, June the 20th, the use of the town equipment for the event. Okay? If there's no discussion, can you please vote, please? Motion carry. All right.
Thank you.
Now, before you start on your next one, do you think it's going to be long? Do we need to take a recess?
Mayor,
Re-
I need a
We're
recess.
supposed
A
to.
recess,
Yes,
yeah.
that's what
Let's
we'll
take a
say, but it's
recess.
supposed to be-
All right. And for your information, I had to leave to pick up myself. No, but how you phrased it was like, because I stepped out because of Juneteenth. Yes, Everybody back in their driver's seat. We'll resume. Next up is complaint process. Councilwoman Hawkins.
Yes, before I speak to the complaint process, I want to address something. During the break, Mayor Hines shared with me, actually approached me and said that he felt like I was speaking to him leaving out of the June, when I was discussing Juneteenth at the Winterville Human Relations Board meeting, and that he wasn't doing that, and I shared with him that I was speaking to what occurred, just as I reviewed everything Town Manager Parker asked me to. And so I would like to first state that I felt a bit uncomfortable with you coming over to me. You could have said that out to everyone. If I need to say something, or if I felt like you got up and walked out during the conversation, that's what I said. I said what I said. If you said that you had to take care of your personal business, that's your personal business. I just reviewed what occurred, and I have a First Amendment right to speak to and say what I had to say. So first that. Secondly, I'm gonna say that the climate of a board, of a town, or any organization is contingent upon its leader. And when the leader sets a tone of divisiveness, then the town comes tumbling down. And when I come here and I sit on this town council, I am not to be played with or to feel like I'm a joke. I was elected by the people. I don't care if I'm up here 2 more days. I'm going to get the respect that I deserve. I give everybody respect, and when I'm speaking town's business. I'm a well adult. Well, I have 3 children that are well into their adulthood, and I will be respected while I'm here and outside of here. And if anyone wants to address me, they can address me in a respectful manner, and I don't mind you talking about me. Well-behaved women rarely make history, and I'm up here for the town's business, and I don't care who doesn't like me. I'm here to do the town's business, and I said what I said. I said the mayor was in the meeting, and when I got to that item, I don't know if he, and secondly, you did not hear what we discussed, because as soon as I introduced it, you got up and left. So to say you heard what we were talking about, you did not, because you wasn't there. And the rest of the board is not present, but Town Manager Parker is. So I said what I said to recount what occurred. Now, if we want to discuss it more, we can, or I can go on to my complaint process.
Could you move on to the complaint, please?
And next, I want to point out, Mayor Hines, you are very rude when you speak to me, and I would ask that you defer from being rude or monitor your temperament. This is a professional setting. You do not speak to any other council in that manner, and I would like for you to speak to me in a better manner. I do not speak to you rudely. I can go there, but I'm staying within my professionalism.
Councilwoman Hawkins, I'm not going to get into any of that. All I'm saying is you have items on the agenda. I ask you to speak to them. If there's something that I need to speak to, I will speak to it. As far as how I speak to you, I refer to you as councilwoman, as I do to all the other councilwomen and councilmen that's up here. So I don't understand that part of it, but that's, I don't know. We can just move on, you know, if we can, please.
Sure. In terms of the complaint process, I want to let the public know that back on April 11th, I asked Town Manager Parker for the complaint procedure in terms of the Winterville Police Department. Reason being, I get several phone calls about stops and even late as last week, several calls about checkpoints and, various things. So as a council person, I am available and accessible to the people of the town, and if they want to contact me, I welcome them. That is what I'm here for. But I would like to be equipped to tell them what to do if they have a complaint. In the past, I would share the complaints, or if something went wrong, or if they felt they weren't treated professional, or something about the police conduct within their interactions. I would then share that with Chief Williams, Town Manager Parker, Mayor, and Town Council. Then it would be a whole cycle of investigating and getting back, and I was like that core person or the face of, like I'm on one side or the other. I'm a representative of the people. I'm the voice of the people, and I have to speak to what they share with me. With that being said, I also understand that there's a variety of duties that come with policing. Again, I'm not against police. I'm for purposeful policing. Purposeful. And so I asked for various policies and various statutes and things that the police operate within. And if it's something that is not occurring right, I point that out. But I wanted to be equipped with a complaint process. There was nothing accessible on the Town of Winterville website. And so after going back and forth about 20 times, well, no, let me stop. I asked on April 11th, on April 16th, Town Manager Parker told me that the complaint form was uploaded to the website and the people, citizens could access it. Well, this complaint procedure was well dated, back to 2005. I have a 20-year-old daughter. It was the same age as her. We were all in agreement that it was hard to read, it was outdated, and I guess essentially it had been updated and uploaded as late as last week. So I would like to be transparent in letting the public know there is a complaint form on the website that you can access. Part of the complaint process, and me going back and forth with Town Manager Parker, and she is responsive to whenever I ask something in terms of the complaint. Part of the policy or the process or the policy was that you can file a complaint in person, or you can do it by mail, or you can do it anonymously. My main concern was if you are doing an anonymous complaint, you need a reference number. Well, I've been told, like, you can leave your name, you can leave your address, but that's not anonymous. Or you can mail it in anonymous, and my question still stands. How will this be referenced? And in a 21st century, how can we as a town get an online complaint process? Like where you can fill out things online and submit them. So that is my question. I would like to thank Chief Williams for responding to my emails as he was trying to explain a variety of things. And then I was just going right back to, like, I'll answer his questions, or I would affirm, like, confirmation of the clarification I was asking, but if I wasn't clear, I went back with another question. Here I sit today, May 12th, I still would like a little clarification in terms of if you're filing a complaint anonymously, how do you reference that? Because if that's in the policy, then there should be a way in which an anonymous complaint is followed up. If it can't be followed up, then how would the complainant know that it was looked into, and if it was a valid complaint and the follow-up on it? So that is my question. Either Town Manager Parker can answer that or Chief Williams.
Chief? Since that's a predominantly internal police procedure, I'd rather him speak to it.
So to answer your question, we don't have an online process. The only online form we have is the form that you're aware of. We don't have that. Based on your questioning, I called around. Even Greenville and some of our CALEA certified places do not do that. They don't offer an online solution. I would be happy to talk with the town manager about how we make that information available, but being anonymous and asking for a follow-up for me is just, it just doesn't click in here for me. There are two parts to a complaint, right? You have a administrative complaint where my officer may have cussed at you, or my officer was speeding. That's an administrative complaint, right? That's handled internally within the town. Then there is a criminal complaint. You violated my rights. You hit me. You assaulted me. You did that. Well, my officers enjoy the same constitutional protections that you mentioned earlier. And one of them is the 6th Amendment, which guarantees the right to face your accuser. So I would like you to say how my officer can face his accuser in court if the complaint is anonymous.
So, Chief, first, as a council person, your tone, like you're being defensive, and you already had that, readily available to say to me. You're asking me how a person can do something anonymous. Chief, you have it in your policy that it can be anonymous.
I didn't say it could be.
And so I would like to know why anonymous complaints are in a policy that cannot be followed up. That is my question to you. That shouldn't be in a policy.
So the complaint can still be taken. All the procedures that are in the policy will be followed, but there's nothing in the policy that talks about follow-ups, except for when the officer follows up with the complainant during the course of the investigation.
An anonymous complaint, if there is a policy for a complaint to be made anonymously, then there should be a follow-up, or it shouldn't be any option for anonymity. There shouldn't be. If you say anonymous complaints will be accepted, if I do not want to reveal myself, why can't it be followed up via a complaint number? And you said you can't get that through your head, but there is a submission complaint or via reference numbers. Now, with that being said, if there is no reference, and Town Manager Parker, if I could just finish, I know you want to speak.
No, yes, ma'am.
Really, because the whole tonight is like, I'm being difficult. I'm literally bringing things before the council that are valid for the people. And if y'all never heard of it, that's fine. And Chief, I appreciate that you checked around. That's fine. But when you have a tone like, I want to know how I can do that, that's disrespectful to me, like just trying to get clarification. I want to know why you have, it's in, you the chief, you have it in your policy that they can do it anonymous. So if you have it in there, simply clarify that if you're filing something anonymous, you will not get a follow-up.
That's fine.
Simply put that in there.
That's fine.
Don't act like I'm coming out of the blue. If it's anonymous, And if it's a complaint and it's being accepted, then that person has a right to a follow-up. They have that right.
I think the town manager and I both have explained that we are going through the North Carolina League of Municipalities risk assessment, which was also suggested by council, and that all of our policies are under revision. So we can certainly, if the council wants, take out the possibility of anonymous complaints, and then we won't have to worry about that anymore.
I would like to jump in because I think I have a resolution. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to.
I understand that, but I was speaking in, I'm just, don't want you to have your thought, and I'm finishing my thought.
Well,
Thank
go
you.
right ahead.
Sure,
I'll
I'm
hold on.
finished.
I'll hold on to my.
No, I'm finished.
You do assign a number.
Yes, ma'am, every complaint we get.
So the number, and I don't remember the makeup of the number, but I think it has to do with year, month, et cetera. So if someone submits a complaint anonymously, there's no way for us to impart that number unless they reach out. But if they reach out, we could impart the number, and then they could reach out for the resolution of whether the complaint is founded or unfounded. I mean, there's really no step updates in terms of,
If they reach out and they tell us what complaint they're talking about, they're not really anonymous anymore.
I don't dive down that rabbit hole. I just think that in terms of,
There needs to be a reference number.
there may be a time where that complaint.
And there is a reference number on every complaint we take in.
Sure,
It's
so
the,
that's why
it's
they.
the year
Mhm.
and the number of the complaint that we received that year. 25-001, 25-002, et cetera.
There may be a time where an anonymous complaint is no longer anonymous just by virtue of the complaint itself, how serious it is, et cetera. If it pertains to a specific stop and the people involved in that stop, it may, in other words, there could be a time where folks know. However, if they want to remain anonymous, they could have that reference number, right?
That is great.
And then they could call, not email, but reach out and just see if the complaint has been addressed.
Thank you, Town Manager Parker, and I would agree. If they're filing something anonymous, it's in the policy that anonymous complaints will be accepted. They might want to reference that 6 months, a year, 2 years down the line. And if they're at the point where they need to call, well, they need to be provided a number. And that number, like right now, the form that is on the website, you have to print it out to complete it. And the very thing that I'm speaking of is there are applications all over this world where you can just type stuff in and submit, and there's a number. That is simply what I was trying to convey.
Getting to that, I'm sorry.
No, I'm finished. I was just honestly speaking to the process, speaking to where we started and where we are, and in hopes of getting something moving forward, as opposed to like, whenever I speak, like, I'm not here to have like an argument. I'm here to get clarification and clarity so that I can then voice to people, hey, there's a process in place. But if you have an anonymous policy, those kinks should have been worked out, or it should be communicated. If you file anonymously, you don't get a number. Town Manager Parker, I do agree with you. If something is filed by any method, there should be a way to track it back. And the chief just said that there is a way to track it back. So I would hope that the people of Winterville utilize the complaint process. I want them to reach out to me, but if you need to complain, to bring things to people's attention, if you feel like you weren't treated professional, and again, everybody has constitutional rights, but the police department is held to a higher standard. You're held to a higher standard to be professional, to have conduct, to know your place as if you're shaking your head that y'all not held to a higher standard, that's what you're shaking your head to?
No, we're held to the same standard as law-abiding citizens.
So
We treat people courtesy, we follow the policy, It's not a higher standard, it's the town standard,
Okay.
or the state
You
standard.
are held to a higher standard, holding a badge and taking an oath and having a weapon on you. You are held to a higher standard. As a law enforcement community officer, if you're telling me y'all not held to a higher standard, then something is wrong with that picture. You're held to a higher standard, sir, and I hope you are. I hope you don't equate yourself with me with being a person that is here to protect and serve. You are held to a higher standard. And a complaint process that is fully in alignment with the policy is what should be. And thank you, Town Manager Parker.
I do think continuing to create editable forms, just not for the police complaint procedure, but for many of our forms are underway. And also, once somebody were to fill that out online, there has to be a submittal process where somebody could then hit a button to submit it, much like the public comment form. So, again, that's not specific to the police department, but that's just that's an overall improvement we're trying to make. So I just was trying to come up with a way to, Chief and I've talked about the anonymous component of the policy that has existed for many, many years, and whether or not that should remain. So we will definitely keep everybody up to speed as we make changes in the respective policies that many of our citizens and beyond may have interest in knowing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up is items for future agenda and future work sessions.
The update we've been discussing, is it in a work session, or how will we accomplish that?
The update of our policies and whatnot. I do think that there would be time needed to get together to talk about changes, holistic changes you all would like to see. I think that's going to be difficult to accomplish in just one session, but certainly I think that is beneficial also to kind of couple that with your individual review of the ordinances and of the rules of procedure. I know Don has worked with American Legal to get pricing for when we're ready for a recodification, but obviously we don't want to do that until we've made some of these large-scale changes in our ordinances that we want to see. Obviously, that's a kind of a living, breathing process in terms of it just won't be one and done. There'll be consistent changes that occur as time moves on, but we would like to do a holistic recodification at some point in the near future. But yes, ma'am, to answer your question, I do think that's probably worth setting a few days.
Is it reconciliation, or what is it? What is it? Is
recodification.
Recodification.
And if I could just use that term
All right.
for not just the ordinances, but
Right.
for our policy
For our
too,
policies, right.
basically.
Recodification. And so that used to be 100%, right now, it's what, 75%? Is that correct?
Different program.
Okay, I'm trying to get to the part that we need to do as a board.
Oh, you got, I know you got.
Right.
But this is about updating our code of
Right.
ordinances and whatnot.
That's what I'm trying to get to,
I know
stability.
I know where you're
as,
going.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to as far as agenda items or work sessions. Stability is what we need as far as this board is concerned.
Okay, so I will put down, let's just use the term recodification. Dates, I will be probably sending out a, what do you call it, a poll. And then civility program.
Right.
Which is put together by the league. Strategic planning update, which kind of goes along the lines of the civility program, and then the associated ethics policy.
Right.
Internal. So ethics policy, strategic planning, and the civility program / policy, they sort of all go in hand. and the league can offer, you know, a lot of assistance in that. So I will list those, and we can start trying to get some dates on calendar in the next few months.
Okay. All right. The quarterly reports were mailed out, correct?
If I could speak to that
Yes.
quickly, Mayor. Management team did something different this time, and they, instead of, they do a written monthly report, well, this time, it was time for our presented quarterly reports, but they decided to put those in writing, and we made those available in the agenda packet. I believe the table of contents for the beginning of the quarterly reports start on page 69 of the agenda packet. That was uploaded to the website. Members of the public can access it to read those quarterly reports. They've not been provided in written form previously. So I would suggest that as opposed to doing the verbal presentation, that we just refer to the written quarterly reports you have before you, and to announce to those of you all with us and watching that you can access those quarterly reports online at Town of Winterville website, www.wintervillenc.com, and in the agenda packet itself for this month.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, Don, any highlights, any announcements? Okay. All right, moving on. Reports, town attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report per se. I will point out that we do have a closed session. The statute is in your agenda packet, that it's principally for staff to get instruction from the town council regarding the purchase of real estate.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Councilwoman Hawkins.
For my closing remarks, first I want to wish all the mothers who have been listening or who are present, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day yesterday. And all that who knows me, it was my first Mother's Day without my mother. However, she is my light and my guide, and I will continue to follow in the footsteps she has taught me to. Next, I want to just share that the Winterville Human Relations Board is having a mental health awareness day event this coming Saturday, May 17th, beginning at 2 o'clock, located in the community room. The town will be blanketed with green ribbons in awareness of Mental Health Awareness Day. And we will have a variety of speakers, light refreshments, and goodie bags, door prizes, and just an opportunity to learn about the tools and resources that are here to help with mental health awareness. I would also like to say on May 29th, we will be having a community conversations roundtable in the community room, to which we as a Winterville Human Relations Board will be on hand for the community. We are inviting the entire staff of Winterville, the town of Winterville, to come out. And if you are an expert or a director or a leader in your department, to be on hand to answer questions from the community. That community roundtable will encompass 4 driving questions that the citizens will answer and rate, and that will beget our conversation. Excuse me, I have a cough drop in my mouth. I have a cold. But I would like to end by saying every single one of these town council meetings teach me more and more. And the more it teaches me, the more it drives me to continue being a leader here in the community. Because if we think one way, we will never go up. And as far as Winterville wants to grow, we are growing by leaps and bounds economically. But are we growing morally? Are we growing with respectability? And that brings back to what I said before. A climate is based off of your leadership. Thank you.
Councilwoman Dr. Harrell.
Yes, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone that's in the audience, to the citizens that stayed and, was present during the storm. Even though the weather is rough outside, that does not stop the mission. So that being said, thank you to the council making the decisions and making sure that our town is ran with wisdom. Thank you to the staff. You all look amazing in your green, even with the green ribbons. I just want to say, as a mental health clinician myself, it really warms my heart to see you all wear green for the town, to acknowledge mental health awareness. I'm pretty sure that we all know someone in our families or may deal with some type of mental health issue. When COVID came, I think we all dealt with some sort of anxiety. And so, just to echo with what Councilwoman Hawkins said about painting the town green for the mental health awareness, I'm excited about that. Green was a chosen color for mental health to represent renewal, strength, and healing. And that's what I would like to see for our town council, and just the citizens of Winterville. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman Smith.
Just good evening. Thank you to everybody for the support from the staff, as always. Thank you to the residents. I think we have a wonderful community. Public Works, this is their recognition. Thank you for sharing your recognition with us and our small tokens of appreciation. We appreciate you all. Thank you.
Councilwoman Robertson.
I'd like to say thanks for all the things that we've received. I will be wearing around town so everybody can see that we're proud of our department here in Winterville. We want to thank the police department, recreation department for the nice senior events. Got something to take home and grow this time around. And it takes some planning and everything, coordination to do that. Also, the America 250 Gathering event. The next one is in Longville on the 17th of June at 6 o'clock, and that's about we're getting ready for the 250th anniversary of our country. So our voices ought to be heard as to what we want to see as far as history, things to be passed on to the next generation. So if you can, it's at the Farmville Library on the 17th.
Councilwoman Robertson, do you know what time?
6.
Sorry, I
6
missed
o'clock.
that.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I'd like to thank our town council here tonight, and also our staff here, and all of the workers that help serve and keep our town the way it is. But everywhere I go and what I listen to, they always speak of how clean the town of Winterville is. When I was to the conference last week, that's one of the things they talked about. Oh, you all have a beautiful little small town, and they really do an excellent job of keeping it up. Hats goes off, you just don't know. I just went on my tiptoes, let them know that I was glad to hear that they see the same thing that I see, And also, I'd like to thank Ms. Farrington for coming out tonight, sharing that information with us tonight, and also to help celebrate the baritone of Good Hope Church, Mr. Deacon J.B. Hill. If y'all ever have heard that young man used to sing, he used to have one of the baritone voice you want to. It was a highlight for me in my days to see him back there in the choir. So to see him here tonight, to showcase, to let the town show him how much we appreciate him by being a citizen here in our town. I want to say thank you. Whoever came up with that idea, thank you.
All right, manager.
I think there's a lot I need to say, but I will pass tonight.
Thank you. And for me, just want to thank Public Works. I know it's Public Works Week. Thank y'all for the job that you do. You know, I thank all the staff in general, but you know, this week is Public Works Week, or so. I appreciate the as it says, swag. Thank you for that. And you know what? I thank this council. You know, it keeps us on our toes. You know, but also too, I thank the citizens. I get emails, I get phone calls, you know, as well. And you know, some pleasant, some not so pleasant. But that's what I took the oath for. I understand that. And so, with that being said, need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion by Councilwoman Smith, second by Councilwoman Robinson. If you could please vote. Ms. Robinson? Motion carried.
I don't think Julie.
I don't want to embarrass the staff.
Take the motion, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I,
You address that with them later on.
As long as you had your star ID.
Cliff.
DMV.
Don't you have something
Permit,
for me?
license.
I'm coming out. You outside?
Take my
Yeah.
two
Yeah, we gotta
extra
come back
forms
up.
ID, and all my kids have. Good thing, because I'm gonna be flying this week.
And you know, I thought about it.
open session? So move. All right, we're back in open session. Johnny made the motion, second by Councilman Morway. I'm sorry, Councilman Morway. Second by Councilwoman Robinson. To come back in there.
Was that some?
Okay. Can you please vote? The motion carried. We're back in the open session. All right. Do I now need a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All right. Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, vote on your thing.
Well, hey, I was gonna just take an aye.
Nope.
Motion carried. Good night, people.
Good night.
Good night, Irene.